Guys, you've been fed a lie. Somewhere along the way, you got told that more effort means more results, that the harder you try, the better your shot at winning her over. But the reality is, you're pushing her further away. Today, I'm not going to just tell you to play it cool. We're going to dig into exactly what you need to do instead to keep her interested, genuinely curious, and drawn to you in ways that she cannot simply resist. Jessica OS here. Welcome to the channel. So let me ask you this. Do you notice how women seem drawn to the guy who doesn't bend over backward, who doesn't call her 3 times a day, and who isn't asking her about her plans every weekend? There's something powerful about being the man who can hold back. Now, I'm not insinuating that you should play games. I am saying know your worth. So let's break down why trying too hard is a killer for attraction and the exact moves you need to make instead. The downfall of trying too hard. Alrighty, I'll paint a picture here. You meet this amazing woman, you're clicking, sparks are flying, and now all you can think about is how to keep that spark alive. So what do? You go all in. You text her as soon as you wake up, you respond to her messages within seconds, and you're already planning the next 3 dates. I'm sorry to break it to you, but all this extra effort, it's actually doing the opposite of what you're hoping for. She's not impressed. She's overwhelmed. You're coming off more like a shadow than a mystery. And if she feels like there's nothing left to discover about you, her excitement will start to die down. So imagine this. You send a text like, "Hey, hope your day was going great. Was just thinking about you and wondering if you'd like to hang out again sometime soon. Let me know what you're up to this weekend." Smiley face. And her response? "Maybe I'll let you know." She's pulling back, giving one-word replies, and you're left scratching your head wondering what went wrong. What's happening here is simple. When you try too hard, it creates pressure. And when people feel pressured, they step back. You might think that you're showing her that you're invested, but she's reading it as you being too available, even desperate. And look, attraction does not live in desperation. So let's flip the script. Stop trying to be the guy who's always there, always responding, always available. You need to be the guy who has his own thing going, his own life and his own ambitions. Because the truth is, if you're not a little bit out of reach, there's nothing left for her to reach for. Trust me, the guy who knows how to balance interest with independence will always have the upper hand. So let her wander, let her miss you. That's the kind of vibe that will keep her coming back for more. Embrace the power of holding back. Okay, so now that you get why trying too hard is actually pushing her away, let's talk about what actually draws her in. It's all about understanding the power of holding back. And no, I don't mean playing games or treating her like she's just an option. I'm talking about being so engaged in your own life that she can feel your confidence and independence, qualities that naturally make you more attractive. Here's the thing. When you're fully invested in your own life, your own passions, your goals, and the things that make you feel alive, you radiate an energy that women can't help but notice. She's not going to be drawn to the guy who's waiting by his phone. She's always going to be captivated by the guy who's got his own thing going on. Now, when you're focused on your own life, you're showing her that she isn't your only source of excitement or purpose. And that intrigue you're creating, that's where attraction lives. It's like a spark that gets her wondering about you, curious about what you're doing when you're not with her. And don't worry, you're not ignoring her. You're simply letting her know that you're not just waiting around, right? You've got a life that you value. You want her to feel like she's with someone who brings excitement into her life, not someone who's ready to drop everything at a moment's notice. Now, the truth is, women respect and admire a man who values his time and respects his own boundaries. It's like seasoning a dish, right? A little salt makes it taste amazing, but too much will ruin the whole thing. So when it comes to showing your interest, you want to go for quality over quantity, okay? Here's the game plan. Get busy with your own life. When she sees that you're out there making things happen, she'll be the one wanting to reach out to you. That kind of natural attraction is powerful because it's built on real interest and not on any kind of forced effort. Drop the pressure, raise the confidence. All right, so now that you're living your life and giving her a little bit of space, here's the next critical step. Drop the pressure. And this is where a lot of guys still trip up. They think if I back off, she'll think I'm not interested. So they panic and go right back into overdoing it. But here's the reality. Women want a confident man, not a man who's overly eager to prove himself. And confidence means being okay with a little silence, with a little distance, right? Let's dig deep. So imagine she's been quiet for a day and you haven't heard from her. And instead of giving her space, you're tempted to fill that silence with a text or call. But here's the thing, women often retreat slightly when they're processing their own feelings. So giving her room to miss you isn't only respectful, it's actually part of building her attraction to you. When you're calm, casual, and not afraid of a little space, she's more likely to respond positively. But when you're checking in constantly, asking if something is wrong, or sending a string of, "Hey, are you there?" messages, you're making her feel smothered, like you're not confident enough to handle a little distance. When you let go of the pressure, you're naturally showing her that you're secure enough not to need constant reassurance. This is confidence at its best. And for women, confidence is attractive. It's magnetic. It's memorable. Think about it this way. When you're waiting for a response and feeling that urge to check in, ask yourself, am I doing this because I want to connect or because I need validation? If it's the latter, that's a sign that you're putting too much pressure on yourself. In fact, pressure on both you and her, because real confidence is rooted in the idea that you're enough, whether or not she replies right away. So instead of anxiously waiting, focus on other things that fulfill you. Go out with friends, hit the gym, dive into a passion project. Show her that you're a guy with your own life, a guy who doesn't rely on her responses to feel valued. It's the quiet, steady confidence, right, that will actually make her more likely to reach out to you. And you're not putting pressure on her to respond. She starts to feel like there's something uniquely strong about you. You're not flustered by her silence. You're not overly invested in a quick reply. Instead, you're giving her the freedom to come to you when she's ready. And trust me, that's going to pull her in much faster than pushing. So I guess the takeaway here is simple, right? Give her space, but don't do it from a place of fear. Do it because you're confident in yourself and in what you want to bring to the table. You don't need to convince her of your worth. You just need to show her through your actions and your self-assuredness that you're that guy. That's the kind of energy that women can't resist. Next time you feel the urge to fill the silence, remember, drop the pressure, raise the confidence. Trust in yourself and she'll trust in you too. Hold that energy and watch how it transforms the way she sees you. The art of keeping her curious. Now, to keep her curious, you need to understand that mystery is an important part of attraction, right? If she feels like she already knows everything about you, there's no reason for her to lean in closer. So what you're doing here is simple. Giving her just enough to keep her coming back, hungry to learn a little bit more about you. Now, I'm going to give you 3 tips that I want you to keep in mind when you're trying to create curiosity when it comes to women. The first tip is less is more with texting. Okay, a little mystery can go a long way. So instead of sending her a full rundown of your day, you want to keep it short, you want to keep it interesting. Let her mind wander, right? Drop a little hint about what you're up to, but don't give her the entire story. For example, I just found this amazing spot that makes the best coffee. You'll love it. Notice how I don't say where it is. It will spark her curiosity. You're leaving her curious. She's wondering where you are, what makes that coffee spot so great, and whether she'll get a chance to try it with you. You're creating anticipation, giving her something to think about. When you leave certain details out, she's more likely to reach out, ask questions, or stay engaged because you've created that air of mystery or curiosity around you. And trust me, that's actually a refreshing change from the usual constant updates that most guys send her. Number 2, you want to give her glimpses, not the full story. So it's closely tied to the first tip, right? Share parts of your life, but don't over-explain. Okay, think of it as flipping through a photo album instead of her reading your entire diary. If she asks, for instance, how your weekend was, don't give her all the details. Instead, share a quick highlight and leave some blanks. So for example, if she asks you how your weekend went, you could say, had a blast hiking with some friends. You would love the view. Notice how I didn't go into every little detail? This makes her imagine what the experience was like and even wonder if she could be a part of it next time. You're giving her enough to know that you're out there living, but not so much that she feels like she's seen it all. A little bit of distance can actually pull her closer. When she's curious, she's invested. She's thinking about what you're doing when you're not around and picturing your life in a way that's exciting and new. So keep those little details to yourself sometimes because it'll pay off big time. The third and final tip I'll give you under this is don't always be the first to text. And this is a classic one, guys. You want to make her take the lead sometimes, okay? Because when you're the only one reaching out, it'll give her less of a reason to wonder about you, okay? But you want to give her a little space because it opens up the opportunity for her to make the first move, which keeps her feeling just as invested in the relationship. I mean, it's okay to let a conversation simmer. Instead of texting her good morning every single day, you want to mix it up. Let her wonder about your morning. Maybe she'll end up reaching out first because she's curious to see what you are up to. And when she does, respond warmly, but keep that balance. Show her you're interested, but still independent, right? When she's the one who has to reach out, it switches the energy and changes the power dynamic. Now she's the one wondering what's going on in your day, and that's exactly what keeps the excitement alive. Remember, curiosity goes both ways, okay? So give her a little room to miss you and think about you on her own terms. And remember this, at the end of the day, it's all about balance. You're not avoiding her or being mysterious just for the sake of it. You're showing her that you have a life that's genuinely engaging. You're intriguing, not because you're playing games, but because you're the guy with his own passions, his own drive, and his own rhythm. Think of it as setting a stage. You're giving her just enough to keep her intrigued, but never so much that she feels like there's nothing left to discover. Okay? All right. So now that we've covered a lot of ground here, let me bring all the thoughts together. Okay? If there's one takeaway from all this, it's that the most attractive version of you is the one who's confident, a bit mysterious, and totally comfortable with who you are. That's the guy she won't be able to forget. So here's my challenge to you. Next time you're with her or you think of texting her, take a step back. Don't rush to fill the silence. Don't try to impress. Let your actions speak for you. Show her that you're the guy who's confident, who respects his own space, and who doesn't need to prove himself constantly. When you do this, you'll notice something incredible. If she's interested, she'll start to lean in. She'll start reaching out first. She'll start thinking about you when you're not around. And that's exactly where you want to be. You're welcome. Jessica Oas here. Catch you in the next video.